Stand by, Alpha Team. We've got visitors.
Today we're taking an early look at the Crust, a new upcoming title aimed for release somewhere this year. Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel where it's all about sci-fi games. Let's dive in. I've included chapters for your viewing convenience so you can skip back and forth. If this is the first time you're hearing about the Crust, it is a factory/colony builder sim. The general premise is that humanity has pretty much reached the point where establishing a colony on the moon has become a make or break deal for mankind's future survival.
Docking gateway provision priority. Highest.
You're trusted with building and managing the entire colony, in which you will first have to set up resource extraction plans and production lines, leading up to receiving and maintaining a colonist population. What's noticeable straight away is a clear and straightforward interface. It doesn't distract from the view on your colony, which is an appealing one. Of course, the moon is very bland on its own, so the light sources such as the sun, buildings and drones create a very atmospheric shadow play across its surface. You can zoom in really close and models still look very sharp and detailed, which is cool for when you want to be up close and personal to look at drones or landing craft conducting their business. When it comes to audio, the game provides a calm background track which never becomes too overbearing. Voiceovers are decent in a sense that they do their job in delivering the lines for the dialogue as part of the storyline, but at times they seem less emotionally engaged as you would expect under several in-game situations.
Risk of 2-week power outage equals job loss and a costly lawsuit for me. I don't care who you are, get Holloway on this, but no power for you until sunrise. We just don't have it right now.
Look, Robert, you and I got off on the wrong foot.
The gameplay side is in general what we've come to expect from this genre, and the initial steps in expanding your base, so setting up additional power infrastructure, getting some extractors set up, are nothing new. Solar panels would be your main power producer in combination with batteries connected to them to keep feeding the facility power overnight, because the Crust has a day and night cycle which does play a major role in the early stages, especially when starting from scratch, because you won't have the power infrastructure yet to keep all buildings running, regardless of the time of day. Running out of power during the night will render buildings and drones inoperable until daybreak, which can leave you staring idly at your screen for some time, even on the fastest time setting. Now this game is still in deep development. This is a demo for the devs to collect some player feedback on bugs and gameplay, so what we'll see here might be slightly different from the final product, but the devs have a very serious roadmap and timeline on their website, so I don't expect any 180 U-turn project steering decisions. If you want to check out their roadmap and timeline, I've included the website in the description below. A few things that are immediately noticeable is that there are no short keys for construction menu options, so if I quickly want to expand my solar panel park, in this version of the game you still need quite a lot of steps in order to achieve that. Some buttons aren't in English yet, but this usually concerns a title here and there, and the description will be in English, so I'm sure this will be implemented or fixed in a later stage, because right now the devs are just tackling the larger issues. Once you start building out your base, both on the surface and on the ground, you'll notice that your buildings need repairs every now and then. You might want to take some precautionary measures here, because if you're low on resources, so let's say a low stock of steel and concrete due to placing a lot of new modules, you might end up deadlocking yourself because you have no stock left of either. Your steel production building needs concrete to be repaired and your concrete production building needs steel to be repaired. Just a situation I found myself in the other day. At some point you will want to build more complex modules or increase performance of the ones you already have. Now this is done in research. With 3 different trees you can gradually unlock various upgrades. Nothing too fancy here, pretty straightforward. The game doesn't get too complicated in you having to figure out everything yourself, since the in-game tutorial does a good job of guiding you through the basics, whilst also providing you with some storytelling.
Director, we have iron and silicon veins available. Assign mining drones to mine each vein to supply the processing modules with the oxides.
What I've seen in the demo is only a small part, so I won't give out any spoilers about the story itself, but it's entertaining enough not to turn the game into an hours-long session with you just building a base, without any goal other than let's see how big we can go. For me, so far the game does a good job of making me care for the stuff I'm doing. Besides the storyline, there are also missions that you can carry out on the Moon Overview map. Here you can send your rovers to investigate miscellaneous events, such as an asteroid impact, an odd signal, or a private laboratory on the Moon. Which, oddly enough, makes me think of a B-movie where we find a certain evil faction from the Second World War on the Moon. But anyways, this doesn't seem to align with the story. But perhaps that's something we'll discover in the full version of the game. These missions will reward you with certain resources or research bonuses. Alongside this mechanic you have the contracts, where you can also accept a task where you have to deliver resources A and B in certain quantities before a certain deadline, and in return you get some funds, reputation with a certain faction back on Earth, and a research bonus. While missions and contracts do seem similar, they work differently and they keep your game diverse enough so you won't get the feeling that all you're doing is staring at one particular screen all the time without much variation. I think this does a good job of keeping the game fresh and interesting. Looking ahead, there are future mechanics on the roadmap of which we have yet to see any information about, so what we have seen up to this point is going to be enriched with an online contract system, an online player scoreboard hinting at some sort of competition with other players, a combat system on the orbital level, and even new planets, which makes me really curious. Are we going to see maybe Mars or the moons of Jupiter or something? Now at the least this promises a diverse game to play with a good amount of replayability. Personally, I think that despite the obvious ongoing development, the Crust is diverse enough to be different from other titles in its genre. Now at times it reminds me of or plays similar to titles such as Surviving Mars, Dyson Sphere Program, and even the Anno series, but then obviously the more sci-fi ones. Now I can happily be spending a few hours enjoying the soft-toned, hip piano background track whilst just being a sucker for building and micromanaging, I guess the most efficient supply chain you can in games such as these.
As a special bonus, I can include a coloring book set, so you can brighten up your leisure time at work in silence.
Okay, Alice, I get the hint.
But even though this is a demo and the development and polishing is still ongoing, the game is already playable to such a degree that you can get a really good grasp of the look and feel. Now, if you want me to name something I'm enjoying less, it would have to be parts of the dialogue with the advisors or the conversations between storyline characters. There are several moments that to me come off as unconvincing, maybe unnatural even, due to the combination of the voice acting tempo and the script, but overall I guess it just does the job. If you actually played this demo, let me know what you think, or if you haven't, just let me know in a comment what you think of the game so far. If you're interested in seeing more upcoming titles, check out this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.